Most disappointing film of the year.
Can
you
I
going
start?
last on this one, Andy?
Right, yeah.
You want to go
start.
first?
I want to start, yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah. So, my most disappointing film of the year was a film that has had... It had a bit of hype built around it, both from the fact that... From the director's previous efforts, as well as soon as the trailer started coming out, people got insanely excited and started hyping it up massively. And that film is Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
Jojo Rabbit is the latest from Taika Waititi, director of Hunt for the Wilder People, Thor, Ragnarok, and What We Do in the Shadows, etc., and various other bits and bobs. He's done a couple of episodes of Mandalorian and bits and bobs like that as well. This is he was by far one of my favourite filmmakers a couple of years ago, and I thought Hunt for the Wilder People is one of the best films I've ever seen, and I really, really love that film. Now, he's just... And this is probably going to annoy a lot of people, because I know a lot of people still hold Jojo Rabbit in very high regard.
The Academy of Motion Pictures Arts and Sciences, dude.
But
He won the Best Adapted Screenplay.
I did not think it hit the mark, and I do think that I can understand why it won Best Adapted Screenplay because of the topics that it's about and blending humour into that. But I just don't think that after what he's already put out, I don't think it was anywhere near the standard that he can live up to. And I'm just hoping that he's not going to suffer from the same problems that Tarantino suffers from, which is people not telling him no.
I mean, he's doing a Star Wars film, so he's basically bulletproof because nothing bad can come of that.
But that's it, and it's a shame because there's a couple of good bits in it, and there's some stuff that I did enjoy in it, but there's also a lot of stuff that was very bad in that film, I thought, or just going, you're really missing the mark here. The biggest plus side of it is that Thomasin McKenzie got a good role in it, and she's fantastic. I'm very excited to see what she does next. But yeah, it was a very disappointing.
So Paul was disappointed on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your preaching, Paul, but only the choir are here.
Very true. So my most disappointing, again, a movie that was hyped as being the saviour of cinema. What? A director whose previous track record is incredible, apart from
Wonder Woman 1984.
Not seen it. Not seen it, and you know it. So, Tenet. Because of everything. So, the thing is, I can appreciate the good aspects of Tenet, and I would say that the good aspects are the two set pieces that really stick with me, being the highway chase and the corridor scene, the scene in the art vault. Now, I wanted much more from this film, and it fails on basic fundamental levels that I think are inexcusable for a filmmaker of Christopher Nolan's ability. And that's why I've got to choose it as my most disappointing, because I don't think it's the worst film of the year. It's nowhere near the worst film of the year. I've seen a lot of Netflix holiday specials. But what it is it's a complete failure to live up to, the hype that was being built around. And I think maybe... I mean, to be honest, him saying it needs a cinematic release, that was the thing that kept coming back to me. I was thinking, I think he's bought into this, that he is going to save cinema, and that he was sort of reticent about moving it back too far because he wanted to be the big thing that opened.
Yeah.
Unhinged got there first. Sorry, guys. But what it fails to do is have a narrative plot that the actual plot of the film doesn't work as well as the concept works as an idea. It is a film that is driven by the concept being the core thing, and everything else is tertiary, and that is just inexplicable to me, because it can't function as a film. It only functions as here's a concept for you. That's never been his thing. It's been, they work on that level, but also on a fundamental level of, they are functional films and really well-made films. So, yeah, if you look back to things like The Prestige, if you look back to things like Memento or Interstellar, I mean, present company accepted, Paul, they all work on a fundamental level and then work on this other existential level. This just doesn't, and I'm not even sure if it works on the existential level, but that's clearly the thing that he's latched onto and gone, this is my thing for this film. You haven't made the film to support that thing. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. So that's my choice for most disappointing. Andy?
So I have to go last for a reason.
Yes.
And it's because I'm going to cheat. Mark your bingo cards, guys, because Andy's coming in to cheat.
Okay.
My most disappointing thing about cinema in 2020 is cinema in 2020.
Okay.
Because every film that I looked forward to was pushed back or didn't come out or had limited release and you weren't able to see. So every single thing that I wanted to see, you'd get a release date and be like, oh, actually it's going to come out here. But then 6 down the line, you go, oh, hold on.
No Time to Die is never coming out, by the way, guys.
And then
it's the new Gambit.
And then the ones that were delayed massively, then come out and they're the New Mutants. And you're like, oh, great. This is what we've got to play with. And I do think there are some really great films this year. Like, I'm not disparaging the entire year. I think there are some really, really great stuff.
I got like 40 of them.
Especially in that first, 3 months of cinema.
They really packed him in early.
But I think a lot of it has been like I've seen a lot of streaming stuff this year, and streaming stuff just there is some good stuff in there, but there is a lot of chaff as well. And
you have to wade through the haystack to get to the shiny needle.
Is
that a good thing? A needle?
There is some really great stuff, but I think the biggest disappointment this year is this year.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking for everybody here.
Do this as well. I thought if no one says it, we should probably mention that that's the biggest disappointment. But then I was like, no, Shoes probably will say it. And look at you. You're saying it now.
I'm not wrong.
I'd also like to you just reminded me of something. I do think it's immoral that after mentioning it as his most anticipated 3 years in a row,
that is true.
The New Mutants did not make his most disappointing.
No, it's because he's going into the best movie.
But it wasn't. But it wasn't even on my most anticipated this year.
Oh, okay.
So if it had come out last year and been as whatever it is as it is, then yeah. But it came out this year, and I wasn't looking forward to it anymore because I just presumed it would also go on the Gambit pile along with No Time to Die.
So yeah.
So your thing is 2020 is the biggest disappointment.
Let's be honest. At the end of 2019, we went, I can't wait for 2020. I'm glad for this year to be over. And how many people went, oh, actually, my life improved in 2020.
Just think it's going to get worse next year.
I think it's Jeff Bezos and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's fight this one out. Andy, I'm disqualifying you. You cheated.
What?
Everyone's had a shit year. We all know that. That's an easy win. Fine. Unofficially, yes, that's the winner.
I mean,
I'll take an unofficial win if I have to.
And again, this is the one where
I agree with both of you. By the way,
I don't think we can pick anything other than Tenet because
I'm strong.
The reason I was disappointed by Tenet.
Yes.
However, I still love a lot of stuff in that film, and there's a lot of stuff that I do, and I don't necessarily think it doesn't work on the narrative thing because I think it works, but it's just that they do it in a simplistic way, which I think is fine, but not what we would expect from Christopher Nolan.
It'd be nice if I could hear any of the stuff that was going on.
That's where the sound mixing is absolutely terrible in that film, and that's where this is the thing, because that's the reason it has to go in. That has to be the most disappointing, because as much as I have forgiven the plot being very simplistic, what I can't forgive is a Christopher Nolan blockbuster where the sound is not good.
Where the technical parts don't always
because the sound, Dunkirk, that is a film that is massively benefited by the sound. You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
When the music stops in Dunkirk, the music has stopped, and it makes you feel something because of that. You go back to his Batman trilogy and you go, the sound was so integral in that. And then the fact that for the first, I especially noticed it in the first sort of 20, 25 minutes was when I could barely hear any of the dialogue.
There was times where I had no idea what people were saying.
Yeah. So I have to say that's got to be the definitive most disappointing, even though there is a lot to enjoy about it, I thought, and I did enjoy it a lot more than I know that Alex did.
And I think Jojo Rabbit falls into that same kind of category where I think there are moments in that film that are really nice and moments that really work. I just feel it didn't feel consistent.
Yeah.